Today we discuss turning times of refreshing and revival into days of judgment. Hi, this is Barry Phillips, a 10-minute Torah, day 4 of the Torah portion, Tisa. Let's go over to Shemot, or Exodus chapter 32, verse 1 and following. It says, "And when the people saw that Moshe was so long in coming down from the mountain, the people gathered together to Aaron and said to him, 'Arise, make us mighty ones who go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us up out of the land of Mitzrayim, we don't know what's become of him.' Aaron said to them, 'Take off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me.' And all the people took off the golden earrings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron, and he took this from their hand, and he formed it with an engraving tool. He made a molded calf, and they said, 'This is your mighty one, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim.' And Aaron saw and built a slaughter place before it, and Aaron called out and said, 'Tomorrow is a moed to Yahweh.'" Feast day to Yah. Okay. How did this happen? How can you go from the outpouring of Yah's presence at Mount Sinai, seeing the fire, the smoke, the earthquake, the trumpet sounding, the giving of the Torah? How can you see all of this and it just evaporate from your mind within a matter of a month or so? Now, scholars say that Moshe was at this point on the mountain about 40 days, or they thought he would be back on the 40th day, and he was actually there for 40 days and then would come down. However, they figured it out in their time estimations. They were wrong. Imagine that, somebody being wrong. So they reasoned among themselves that Moshe's delay was perhaps because he had gotten lost in the presence of the Most High and was not going to come back. Or maybe that Moshe had transgressed Yah's presence by some means, and Yah killed him and didn't tell them that. So, however they viewed Moshe's delay, it was his fault. It's always the leader's fault, right? So Moshe's not there according to their time estimates, and they quickly, very quickly, get impatient. What they're not aware of is that the entire time that Moshe has been absent from them, Yah is detailing to him his plans for the abiding of his presence. They don't know anything about gold, silver, blue, red, purple, scarlet threads, or the Ark of the Covenant, or any of that. They've not heard these words yet. Moshe has. Moshe's being given the blueprints. The people are standing around looking at the mountain and asking themselves, when's he coming back? Yah wants the continuing revival, the revival display at Mount Sinai, to become an edifice, to become a structure in their midst. The people are wanting some kind of consoling, nurturing figurehead, some kind of something or someone that they can look to and say, there he is. Yah's voice they heard, but they didn't see. They saw the spectacle, but they didn't see him. Moshe they could see. Moshe's not there, so they can't see him, and in that absence, they fall victim to their own imaginations. So they did what they were taught to do in Egypt or Mitzrayim. We need an idol. We need a namesake. We need a structure. We need something that we can say is tangible in front of us. So therefore, Aaron, you're in charge. Make us a calf. Don't ask me what Aaron was thinking. It's beyond all of my ability to figure out Aaron on this. Especially later on when he says, they just brought me their earrings, I threw it in the fire, and poof, this calf jumped out. The incredulous look on Moshe's face at that point had to be overwhelming. Nevertheless, Aaron, maybe let's give him a benefit of the doubt, he was trying to delay. Bring me your earrings. Well, they were willing to give up their gold earrings. And there was enough of these gold earrings from the massive crowd that he could melt them down and craft the image of a calf. Why a calf? If you remember back in chapter 24, there were men who went up onto the mountain, and there they saw the throne of Elohim. The throne of Elohim is described for us in Yehezkel chapter 1, which is formed by 4 cherubim. Each of those have 4 faces, one of which is an ox, a calf. So perhaps they were thinking, well, as the Most High rides upon the image of a calf, we'll create a calf, and we will assume that his presence is on top of the calf. Moshe's not here to deal with us in the mountain, so we'll create our own place for Yah to dwell. Therein you have the root of how many man-made religions and denominations and doctrines and ways of approaching him. We're going to create our own structure, our own design, our own manners, our own traditions, our own customs, our own doctrines, our own practices and protocols, and we will expect that the Most High will abide over the top of that and be close to us. Matter of fact, we're going to claim that ours is so much better than everyone else's that he really abides with us and not anyone else. So somehow they believed that they could take an earring out of their ear and it melt down and become a mighty one. Continuing. So at this point, when they start rising up and playing, that means they throw off all restraints. And they're embarrassing themselves in their lewd dance and behavior and festivities and frivolity in the eyes of whoever may be around the camp watching. Yah says, at this point, my instructions for the tabernacle are finished. Moshe, go down. Your people have corrupted themselves. Moshe is responding, they're not my people, they're your people. It's amazing to me that neither Yah nor Moshe wanted this bunch. And I say this bunch, and I guess I would have to include ourselves. How often do we create our own thing, our own way, and our own approach, and expect Yah to be in the middle of it? And he said, but I already have the plans for my presence. I don't need your plans. I don't want your idols. If they were trying to recreate Moshe, the means by which to approach Yah, we replaced Moshe with this calf. It's still idolatry. It's a graven image that they were told not to make. If they're trying to replace Elohim, Yahweh Elohim, it is still recreating him according to their own understanding and their own preferences. Both situations are idolatry. So idolatry, and by no means in any application, is excusable. Well, I just didn't know. Well, I don't understand. Well, it was the best that I could do. That's not an excuse. Yah has already revealed to us. So unless Moshe can get back up on the mountain and intercede for these people, Yah's plans for his presence is going to turn into plans for his wrath. Herein is our call today then, to intercede and to ask of Yah that he show mercy instead of wrath. For we have a few idols hanging around, perhaps even in our own backyards and our own mindsets. Get rid of idols and let's go back to the tabernacle. And I'll see you again tomorrow. To then, shalom.